Hey guys, welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how to make a strong and competitive application to a UK undergraduate architecture school. So if you're interested in architecture, keep watching. All right guys, let's jump in. Today we've got my colleague Grant back in the studio.
Hello.
Hi Grant, great to have you back. So Grant, how do you make a strong architecture application in the UK?
So in the UK, all applications are going to follow a very similar pattern where you'll do the UCAS part, so you'll do your personal statements, your references, and then you'll go on to do a portfolio or some kind of visual design task normally. That's going to change a little bit depending on the school you go to, but you'll always follow that format. So you'll have to have your artwork, you'll have to have your kind of academic work running in parallel.
Okay.
Where you're going will also depend on the topics that you pick, basically. So places like Bath, for example, might be a little bit more STEM orientated. You normally have to do a physics or a math qualification to get in, and the design work might be a little bit less relevant there. You still have to submit a portfolio and application, but it won't be judged to the same degree as somewhere like UCL, where it's going to be really kind of portfolio heavy and art heavy. So I think do a little bit of research about the exact place you want to be studying and figure out kind of where you need to put most of your efforts at the early stages.
Okay, so let's just kind of take it piece by piece. So you have a UCAS application form, so there's a centralized portal through which you apply. Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
So that's all kind of really neat. It's online. Your teacher will kind of take you through the motions of doing that, but it's where you'll identify the universities that you want to be applying to. And you can pick up to 5, and you'll be able to figure out all of the application entry requirements through there. And through that, you'll also upload your personal statement, which again, you'll have a little bit of help writing, and that will all be kind of done internally through UCAS. And they'll also handle your kind of confirmations or rejections as the process goes on. So everything's kept nice and tracked through that portal.
Cool. So guys, that's UCAS, and we have students every year who come to us for help with their UK US university admissions. So we will do that with our students, but it's something that you can do yourself. It's not that difficult. Then you have the personal statement. Architecture is not a subject that students study at school. So how can they write a personal statement for architecture? What goes in it?
Yeah, so you're right. You can't base it all on the course that you've done. You can't really kind of rest on that at all. You have to find out what interests you and why you've been attracted to architecture at the beginning. And typically that will either be something within the arts or something again in like the world of STEM in terms of engineering. You can kind of use this whole gamut of subjects that you do have access to at school to really build your portfolio. So you'll generally want to balance something a little bit more mathy, so like something like a physics or an engineering if your school offers that, and you want to do art alongside, and you want to kind of find somewhere in between these two things to really push your application forwards. And then alongside that, ideally, if you can get experience in the real world, I think that's really important. So a lot of places are going to offer internships or part-time summer things, and I think that can be really good to bulk out your portfolio and your personal statements. So having a little bit of experience to really talk about. Yeah,
that's great. And Grant, you mentioned that you have the portfolio and the drawing task in some cases. So I always thought they were the same thing.
Yeah, so it depends. Some places will not really care about a portfolio at all. Some places will want to just look at your normally like a 10-page portfolio that you have a lot of time to build up. You'll have a year or two in advance to really get that together. Then a lot of places might also set a task. So places like UCL, the Bartletts especially, you'll have.
That's where you study.
Yeah, so I did my undergrad and my postgrad at the Bartletts. Slightly different at postgrad, but undergrad they'll want to set you a drawing task where you get, I think, 4 or 5 questions. You'll have to give them a visual response to that. So generally timed drawings or timed sculptures, you can have a little bit of fun with it. You don't have to do a very particular set of things, but you just have to show that you're competent in making visual art in a short amount of time.
Got it, makes sense. So it sounds like, there almost can be 2 parts. One is this portfolio that you can spend 5 years preparing for, but the other one is this timed under pressure art drawing that you don't really have as much time to do, so you kind of have to draw on your feet, if that that makes sense.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's not like an exam condition saying you do have about a week to do it, so you do it at home. So it's not something to be scared of, but you can't like rehearse ahead of time like you can with the portfolio. You can't just pick the absolute best bits. You have to just be able to be confident in your ability. And
of course, for example, if you're applying somewhere like Cambridge, they will have an interview, and just before the interview, they'll set you a timed drawing task as well. So you can have that, which will be under time pressure. Yeah,
so it will vary depending on the school, and I think it's it's really worth checking that before you kind of embark on that process, knowing what you're comfortable with and what to expect in the process, and just being able to prepare yourself
No.
a little bit.
Grant, and you mentioned the school reference. So, it seems like a lot of students miss out the reference from their, they kind of get too focused on their portfolio or on the personal statement. So tell us more about the reference and the importance of it.
Yeah, so the reference is really key, and that's something that's going to be written by your teachers or kind of a career advisor at the school. And I think a lot of people just assume that will happen in the background, it will be really good and you don't have to worry about it at all, but it's something you really should be proactive about in the process. And it doesn't mean that you can influence it necessarily, but you can definitely kind of chase it up, make sure things are happening on time in terms of your application timeline. And then you also have access to this as well, right? So you can check what's been written, you can make sure it's relevant to the places you're applying to. And it's worth having a chat with the person writing it too, to make sure they're aware of the type of school you're applying to and what's really important to that place. So just making sure you get these really key bits of information in that reference, it's going to go a long way rather than just kind of expecting it to happen.
Got it. Great. And, guys, just to reinforce what Grant has said, it really takes, as a school teacher, teachers want to do their best for you, but ultimately they have, another 100 students, they have their husband to wife, they have marriage problems, money problems, health problems, all sorts of drama happening, outside of you. So if you as a student approach them last minute and expect a great reference, you may be disappointed, not because they don't want to help you, but just because they don't have the bandwidth to, to do that, which is why it's really important to invest in building the strong rapport with the referee way before, keeping them updated on the activities you're doing in your spare time, so that when it comes to writing the reference, it's an easy decision for them to write a really excellent reference, and they don't have to, second guess and, just put something generic. They can, really write something very relevant and very strong.
Definitely, yeah. It'll go a long way.
Yeah. Great. Well, Grant, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We spent a ton of time making these videos for you. And so if you subscribe, it helps us to show the videos to more people. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, do send me a tweet on Twitter. I'm very active there and reply almost to all messages. So do check it out. For now, thanks very much. Best of luck with your architecture applications and take care. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you. Good luck.